Party, the Charismatic Enigma here, and you are watching the Common Sense Ain't Common podcast.
Bitch, I'm that damn good. Smoking on some good, some rosy on the wood. Standing on the shit so you can get it understood. It's pedigree in me because I'm that damn good. Bitch, I'm that damn good. Bitch, I'm that damn good. Smoking on some good, something rosy on the wood. And bitch, I got the belt so you just get it understood. It's pedigree in me because I'm that damn good. Bitch, I'm that damn good.
Yo. Welcome everybody to the Common Sense Ain't Common podcast. I am your host, the illustrious, your role model, the blueprint, Dame Don. Audio week is back, and I was actually supposed to do this episode last week, so we are just quickly going to cover 4 topics in this episode. We are going to cover the Vince scandal, the Sasha release, Jeff Hardy, Randy Orton, and the referees that died this past week. And then on Friday, we'll cover Forbidden Door, my first AEW live event, and Money in the Bank predictions. But I did just want to jump into and talk about this scandal really quickly. I've been really watching as much videos on this as possible just to really try to get an understanding of this, because I'm not really sure, like, is hush money illegal? Like, what did Vince really do wrong aside from cheating on his wife and I guess giving the lady a raise? But if he paid her the $3 million out of his own money, what would be the real issue? And for those of you that don't know what's going on right now, Vince McMahon is being investigated by the WWE, and a bunch of other people are jumping into this investigation now about how he had some intern and was sleeping with the intern and promoted the intern and gave her a $100,000 raise within the company, and then she quit. But Vince McMahon gave her like a $3 million NDA saying that she can't badmouth him or talk bad about him or anything like that. So basically the hush money. And now this is all coming out, and Vince is being investigated, and he had to step down from the chairman of the board. Stephanie McMahon is currently the interim chairman of the board right now. But you have to understand that Vince McMahon, if you think Vince McMahon is not going to use this as like a comeback like he has been doing, you are absolutely out of your mind. Vince doesn't give a fuck about the fact that we're talking about a scandal or whatever we're talking about. Vince just cares that we're talking about Vince. So Vince is going to use this to his full advantage. Of course, he's going to come out and say then, now, forever together, and people were so confused about what he was saying. But for me, he said a whole lot without saying absolutely nothing. He came out and he said WWE stands for then, now, forever, and lastly, the most important one, together. And to me, together equals I'm not fucking going anywhere. I'm not fucking leaving. Y'all can investigate all you want to. I am literally going to die in the chair. That is what he meant by together. You see that since he stepped down on the chair from the board of directors or from the chairman of the board or whatever the fuck he was, since he stepped down, he's been on every single episode. Vince is definitely using this as a comeback. He doesn't care that we're talking about him in a scandal way. Vince just cares that we're talking about him. This is like the most press Vince has gotten in a really, really long time, and he is gonna soak it all up. I mean, he's jumping off the stairs. He is coming out just, leading the choir with the no chance in hell. Like, he doesn't give a fuck. He doesn't give a fuck. Apparently, they're now looking closely at Kevin Dunn because Kevin Dunn moved millions of dollars of stock. Like he cashed it out or whatever you do with stocks. He moved it or whatever he did. But he moved millions of dollars of stock before this was announced. So now they're saying he moved it because he knew this was coming out. Johnny Ace was also in this lawsuit or investigation as stating the intern was passed to Johnny Ace like a toy. And that's John Laurinaitis, for those of you that don't know. People power. And so he was the head of talent relations. John Laurinaitis did step down, and Bruce Pritchard has now taken over as talent of relations. And lastly, that leaves me with Stephanie. Stephanie McMahon was just literally taking a leave of absence, and I just read that she was voted in by the board to be the interim chairman. I don't know why I can't talk on this episode. I definitely apologize. I'm so sorry. But Stephanie was voted in as the interim chairwoman, and supposedly she was voted in by the same board that Meltzer said was dissing her when she left, and she was buried when she left, and they buried her on the way out, and she was buried from the top of the company. And so now that same top of the company that just buried her voted her in charge if there was really a vote. Like, that's why I don't believe shit Meltzer says. I don't believe shit Meltzer says. Vince came out on SmackDown, and people are all on Twitter in an uproar like, why are people cheering him? Why are people cheering him? Like, it's an affair. Like, do we even know that him and Linda are still married? Because let's not act like politicians don't, like, just stay together because it would be easier to just stay together and hate each other than go through the divorce and the whole press of not being together and everybody being in your business. Like, I feel like Vince probably is having affairs, and Linda knows he's having affairs, and Linda doesn't give a fuck. Isn't Linda, like, working in the White House? Like, how do we even know they're still married is my question. Like, I'm not really sure, but people are like, why are they cheering Vince? Why are they cheering Vince? Like, people are acting like he killed somebody, and I'm sure he has. I'm sure Vince has killed somebody. You can't pay me to tell me Vince hasn't killed somebody, especially back in the day when he was taking all these people's territories and people were threatening to kill him and all that stuff. You can't pay me to tell me, or you can't pay me to believe Vince McMahon hasn't killed somebody at all. You can't pay me to believe that. But that's not what this is about. It's not what this is about. He only had an affair. So the whole why are you cheering him thing, an affair cannot make me hate the man that made me love wrestling. I'm sorry. Then, now, forever together, he is not going anywhere. Dave Meltzer, of course, had to take his first opportunity as the super fan he is and put him on CNN to discuss the Vince scandal. I don't know if CNN is aware, but Meltzer takes every opportunity to shit on WWE. I didn't watch what he said on CNN because I don't fucking care what the fuck Dave Meltzer has to say. My longtime fans know that. If you are new to the podcast, welcome. I did gain a lot of new subscribers, so welcome everybody to the podcast. But yes, I'm not a fan of Dave Meltzer. You can go and watch plenty of episodes where I am talking shit about Dave Meltzer. I think I was talking shit about Dave Meltzer on the last wrestling episode. But speaking of not giving a fuck, I feel like Sasha Banks may be on the level of not giving a fuck like Vince is. I've seen Sasha Banks with 3 or 4 different hairstyles out. She's getting laser eye surgery. Everybody was in a panic because they were saying that Sasha Banks was released by WWE. Until WWE announces Sasha Banks being released, I'm not believing Sasha Banks is released. There's also a story going around that, oh, WWE thinks that they can clone Sasha, and WWE is attempting to clone Sasha. Like, who is the source and who put this story out? Because everybody on Twitter is believing that, oh, WWE can clone Sasha Banks and they're attempting to clone Sasha. Who the fuck said that? And why does everybody believe everything they read? I don't believe that. I don't believe they said that. I don't believe they said that. I do believe that Vince really truly does see something in Sasha Banks. I don't believe that they're released at this time. Actually, this morning I was reading that they are still actively suspended and they are still actively on the roster, and technically, since they are suspended, they still can legally add the time back to their contracts because they're suspended and they're not working the contracted time. So they could very much make them work all of this time that they're missing, whether Naomi's contract is almost up or not. There was talk that Sasha's attorney is trying to help her get released, and they were trying to help her get released weeks ago. So I'm not really sure if they're released. I'm not really sure if I don't know what the fuck to believe. I don't know if they're coming back. I don't know if they're leaving. I just don't know. Until WWE announces something, we just honestly don't know. Because I'm not believing these dirt sheets. Like, nobody really knows anything for sure. It's just kind of all hearsay. And it looks like everything as of now is being kept really close to the chest, really close to the vest. So I'm not even going to investigate it. We'll just have to figure it out when we figure it out. Next, I just want to say RIP to referee Tim White and Dave Hefner. That is Earl Hefner's twin. I was so confused for the longest time because I thought Earl Hefner died, but it was Dave Hefner. I didn't realize they were both referees. I didn't realize they were both referees. It was just really confusing. But I remember Tim White because he had I don't know if you guys remember, but he used to do like these WWE.com segments where he used to try to kill himself. And there were just all these different ways of him trying to kill himself, and they were always just trying to stop him. Like, just all these different fucking skits that they had on WWE.com, and I used to just sit and watch all of them. They used to be like 2 or 3 minutes, maybe like 5 minutes at the most. But I used to really just sit and watch all of them. Rest in peace to both of them. I'm not really sure what the cause of death was, but rest in peace to both of them. Randy Orton will be out of action until 2022 as he has to undergo back surgery. I believe that was confirmed by Matt Riddle the night that he had the title match against Roman Reigns. So, we're just wishing Randy a speedy recovery as well as Big E. We're wishing him a speedy recovery as well. He is now out of the neck brace. So we're wishing Big E a speedy recovery as well. But man, a back injury, a neck injury, 2 of the worst injuries you could have. Randy was just saying he had another 10 years left, so I'm really hoping he can fulfill that and, really get his body back to where it needs to be, because reportedly he's only gotten worse since he's been out. So hopefully this really helps and, he's able to get back into the ring, maybe with a lighter schedule or something of that nature, but I really like him to fulfill that 10-year goal that he had set for himself. Lastly, before we get out of here, I just want to talk about the Jeff Hardy DUI situation, the suspension. People are blaming Matt Hardy. Like, why are you blaming Matt and Rebby Hardy? Like, what the fuck? The Jeff Hardy DUI thing is crazy. As you all know, I did the meet and greet with Jeff Hardy. We did talk about the drinking, and he just seemed like he was so sure that he was done, so it was kind of just taken aback for me. Because we did actually have a one-on-one conversation where he's like, yeah, man, I'm not the old Jeff Hardy. And I was like, yeah, man, we can really see you're not the old Jeff Hardy and just things of that nature. So I just really hope that Jeff gets the help he needs. Tony Khan did say that Jeff Hardy is already on his last strike in AEW, and he is suspended until he completes rehab treatment, which he did enter early last week. So hopefully he's doing the rehab to get better because he wants to get better and not because he just wants to get back to the ring. Maybe it's time for Hardy to hang it up if, he can't perform without medicating his body or, getting his body to where it needs to be without the drugs and the alcohol and things of that nature. Matt Hardy did come out and make comments and say that a lot of Jeff Hardy's issues come from his mom dying when they were so young. Like, I believe their mom died when they were both kids. So I guess there was a lot of issues that he's still kind of holding on to. And of course, who wouldn't? So that's kind of triggering for him with his drug and his alcohol abuse. But we definitely wish Jeff Hardy the best. And we hope that he comes out of this, just swinging. And this is really the end this time. Because it's almost like at this point, you may as well have just stayed in WWE and just did the rehab treatment in WWE. Like, because now I'm almost thinking, like, was the piss in WWE that you used for their drug test, like, did you use fake piss? Because it's easy to use fake piss for a drug test. Like, did you use fake piss? Like, I don't know. We definitely just hope that Jeff Hardy gets better. We hope that this isn't the beginning of something else. I hope he's in rehab to actually want to get clean and not just want to get back to the ring. But that is all I have for this week's episode. This wasn't even really an episode. This was just kind of like a breaking news thing, and I was supposed to do this last week, but I've been so fucking busy. We'll talk about that on the non-wrestling episode, not this week, but the next week. I've just been extremely busy, but we do have Forbidden Door. We'll talk about that. My first AEW live experience. We'll talk about that. And then also Money in the Bank prediction show will all be wrapped up into one on Friday. So I will see you all Friday, and it will be an audio episode because audio week will continue, and it may continue to next week too. I'm just going to be honest with you. But I'll give you all a full update on the non-wrestling episode next week. See you then. Thank you for watching. Listening.